Okay, I'll start the video and then after it, you guys can start.
Okay.
Connectra creates opportunities for people living with disabilities by providing information, resources, and programming geared towards greater inclusion and quality of life. Check out some of the programs we offer through our online learning platform, Connect Together, including our Service Mondays, where we highlight a local organization or initiative, our Tuesday Community Support Group, where space is provided to share your personal journey with disability or simply listen to others in a safe and inclusive environment. Wednesday Chair Yoga with Bobby Seal-Kobiski. Thursday Adapted Fitness with Megan Williamson. Friday Rotating Dance Classes hosted by Janice Lawrence and Joanne Cuff. Additionally, starting in April, we're bringing back our Wednesday creative writing classes, running from 2 to 3 p.m. and hosted by Emily Gillespie. And other initiatives, including presentations by the Disabled Independent Gardeners Association's GrowABLE program, and our Perspective series. Check out our updated programs calendar on our website, connectra.org, or find us on Facebook at Connectra Society. The Abilities Expo is back in 2022. The Abilities Expo is Connectra Society's flagship event, bringing together exhibitors, vendors, resources, guest speakers, and more to further enrich the disability community's well-being and connectedness. Join us on May 25th from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. at the Roundhouse Community Centre in Vancouver, BC, to reconnect with your community in person. Tickets are available now at connectra.org/abilitiesexpo.
Okay, you can start.
Thank you so much. Hi, everyone, and happy Friday. My name is Katie, and I am here from Earthwise Society. Vivian is here as well from our team. She's just setting up our slideshow. Looks wonderful. Thanks, Vivian. So yeah, thank you so much for having us here today. We're looking forward to connecting and learning and growing together. So we always like to start with a land acknowledgement. I am working from home today. I am calling in from the unceded traditional territory of the Squamish, Tsleil-Waututh, and Musqueam nations. And I will just give everyone a moment to reflect on the traditional territory that they are calling in from today, that they work, live, and play on. And also feel free to put that in the chat or come off mute. For those of you who have maybe been to our garden, our Earthwise Society garden, that is located on the shared traditional, ancestral, and unceded territories of the Tsawwassen, Musqueam, and other Coast Salish peoples. So yeah, before we jump in and share a little bit about Earthwise Society and our presentation for the day, maybe Vivian, do you want to start by introducing yourself, and then I can introduce myself?
Yeah, for sure. So hi, my name is Vivian, and I'm the Food Security Program Coordinator at Earthwise. So essentially what that means is that I help redirect food waste and make sure that everyone in the community has access to safe, healthy, and nutritious food. So I'm also a registered holistic nutritionist, so I'll be giving you all some nutrition tips and ideas for preparing and incorporating some weird veggies into your diet.
Thanks, Vivian. And yes, my name is Katie. I am a registered horticultural therapist at Earthwise Society. I get to do a lot of cool hands-on workshops like herbal spa days and flower arranging and lots of different activities. I also help Vivian with our food security work. And one of the main programs I work with for Earthwise is our Garden Buddies program, which pairs people in the community up to garden and grow together at the Earthwise Garden. virtually, and then also at people's homes if they're interested in that as well. So we can start by sharing a little bit more about Earthwise on our next slide here. So as I said, Earthwise is located near Boundary Bay in Tsawwassen. It is really, truly just a spectacular place to come and visit if you're ever in the area. It is a large demonstration garden. So each of our garden areas have different themes. We have a native garden, for example. We have a dry garden. We have a heritage garden. We have all sorts of pollinator gardens, different things like that, as well as a food demonstration garden where we grow food. We have some rows where we produce food for some of the programs that Vivian is involved with. And also we have a community supported agriculture program. So it's a lovely place to visit. We offer tours. We invite all ages out to the garden to participate and learn. And yeah, our main program streams are our farm, our food security programs, and our therapeutic horticulture programs. And they're all very interconnected. So one of our upcoming events that we wanted to share with you is a Wellness in the Garden event that we're having next weekend, actually. And this is going to be quite a cool event. Vivian, actually, do you want to share a little bit about this event? As it's sort of what you've been coordinating.
Yeah, for sure. So the event, of course, is going to be held on May 14th from 10 a.m. till 2 p.m. at the Earthwise Garden. So essentially, we're bringing everyone together to celebrate the year of the garden and the benefits of gardening, healthy eating, and wellness. So there's going to be things like chef demos, wellness workshops, and a plant sale. And we're also going to be selling some of our farm produce. So we'll also be having a week-long silent auction. This will be held online between Monday, May 9th till Saturday, May 14th. So you'll be able to bid online, and some items will only be available at the event. So make sure to come out and join us and take a look and bid on these items. So the money that we raise will be going towards supporting our education and food security programs in the upcoming year. I'll pass it back to Katie.
Thanks, Vivian. And hopefully everyone can cross their fingers for us that this rain lets up, because this is an outdoor event. So hopefully we will have a little break from all this rain on May 14th. We'll cross our fingers, but it is going to happen rain or shine. So it will be fun either way. So yeah, Earthwise, as I said, is a nonprofit. We offer so many different programs. I'm going to put our website in the chat here right now. If you are interested in getting involved in any way, attending workshops, volunteering, and at the end, if you have any questions or would like to get involved, we can chat about that later as well. Vivian, did I miss anything about Earthwise? No. Oh, I guess one other thing is we actually have 2 locations. So in addition to our Tsawwassen location, we also have a lovely property up in Agassiz, very close to Harrison Hot Springs. That's part of the Circle Farm tour there. Awesome. All right. So we always like to start out our webinars with a little fun, just get you going and get us all thinking about what we're here to chat about today. So we have up on the screen just a few different types of unique, kind of more rare vegetables. And if anyone would like to give a guess at any of these, feel free to come off mute or comment in the chat just for fun if anyone has any guesses for them.
I see turnip.
Yep. Thanks, Elizabeth. Yeah, that's on there.
And kohlrabi.
Yes, kohlrabi. Yes. Have you grown them before?
I'm not growing either. No, I think I did grow kohlrabi once.
Okay, yeah.
I haven't grown turnips, but I'm from Ontario and they used to grow a lot of turnips in there.
Yeah. Do you like them?
Yeah, I love them. Yeah.
Okay, yeah. I can't say I love them. I want to like them, but I maybe I just haven't had them cooked, prepared the right way yet.
Yeah, they actually called the rutabaga swimmer. And
Yeah.
they had a festival like in the city I used to live in.
Oh, that's so cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, they look so similar, the rutabagas and turnips. So number one there is actually a rutabaga, and number two is a turnip, and it's just wild how similar they look. Hey.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's the only ones I recognize.
No, that's great. Thank you, Elizabeth.
Yeah.
Number 5 is ginger, I think.
Oh, I didn't hear that. I didn't hear that.
Number
Number
5 is
five,
ginger,
did
right?
you say? That's a good
Number
guess.
5.
It does look extremely similar to ginger. It's actually something completely different. Lori, were you guessing there? Sorry.
Number 5, that's not ginger. Looks like ginger.
I know it does look really like ginger. Yes. So it as although it looks very similar to ginger, number 5 is actually sunchokes or Jerusalem artichokes. They're also called. But it's interesting because they do grow very similarly to ginger. They grow underground, and as we said, they look very similar. So we're going to chat more about how to grow those later. Those are something we grow at Earthwise, and they're really, really fun plant to grow, and they taste really unique.
Number 4 is bok choy.
Nope, that's a good guess. It grows about the same time as bok choy. Any other guesses? It's in the onion family.
Leeks.
Yes, yeah. Those are leeks. Number 4 are leeks, which I have personally myself not had all that much luck growing. Has anyone here tried growing them before with much luck? No, they're a tough one. Maybe it's not just me.
I'm not sure about 7.
Number 7, okay, yeah.
It's kind of like a parsnip.
Yes, it does. It grows similarly to a parsnip. You're on the right track there. It's a very unique variety of actually a fairly common vegetable. Something that would go in a salad usually.
Is it a radish?
Yes, yeah, it is. I believe this one is a daikon radish, which are delicious. I've grown them myself, and they're really great to grow if you have compacted soil, because they actually help to aerate your soil, because they get so far down into the ground. So has anyone grown them here? No.
I've just eaten them.
Yeah. How have you had them, Karen?
I've done what you've done. I put them in salad, but I've also, I believe, I could be wrong, that this is the vegetable I was told I could stir fry the leaves, but I'm not 100% sure. A Japanese radish, I have stir fried the leaves.
Oh, okay. Vivian, do you know? You're our expert on the culinary side of things.
I'm sure you can stir fry the leaves. A lot of root vegetables actually, like with carrots or beets, those ones you can all eat the leaves of. They're great with salads. They're very similar to your regular leafy greens that you get, maybe a little more bitter. But yeah, you can definitely eat the leaves.
Yeah, and it's great when you're able to use the whole vegetable and not waste anything totally. Okay, I think that leaves us. I think the only one left to guess is number 3. And this photo, I apologize, it's not the best. So I'm giving you quite a challenge with this one. Anyone want to give it a go? This one is an artichoke. This is an artichoke that we didn't harvest in time and that went to flower. But even though we didn't get to eat it, you can see the bees just love it. The purple flower of artichoke, they just absolutely love. And they actually are also such a beautiful cut flower. Vivian and I ended up doing quite a few arrangements with them in the summer and fall this year. And they're very unique all around. They're very unique tasting, and the appearance of them, absolutely. So we'll chat about those a little bit more, but yeah, thanks for playing along. Any questions so far about any of these from anyone? We're good. Okay, Vivian, do you want to go to the next slide, please? Ah, yes. Okay, so feel free again to come off mute and share with us if there's I know some of you have already shared some that you've tasted some of these before, but is there any other unique vegetables, fruit, or herbs that you have eaten before that you think are kind of cool and out of the ordinary?
One that we've tried in our garden is black radish, and I like it.
Oh, yes. Yeah. How did they grow?
It grows like it gets to be about the size of a beet, and then we stir fry it.
Oh, yum. I've always wanted to try those because they're black on the outside, but the actual like flesh is white on the inside, right?
Yeah, I'd never heard of them till I belonged to DIGA, and then that's when I was introduced to it.
Yeah, I had those on my list to talk about later. So there's a few other cool radish varieties we can chat about that maybe you haven't tried too. There's so many times.
Another one that I was just introduced last year to was the cucamelon.
Oh, yes. So cool. Did you grow them?
Yeah.
Yeah. I've grown them once and a lot of fun. Easier to grow definitely than actual melons. I grew a watermelon once and I only had one that produced from it, and I went inside to cut it up and eat it, and I dropped it on the sidewalk on my way inside. It was so devastating, but I still managed to eat a bit of it. But yeah. Anyone else have anything to share? Anything cool they've tried? What about you, Vivian?
I feel like daikon, if I'm thinking back to the list we had earlier, daikon is probably the one weird thing.
Yeah.
Yes. But it's not that weird to me though, because I kind of grew up eating that. So yeah. I don't know, does that count?
It's a fun veggie that, isn't as common probably for some people. So totally, yeah.
I like, it's weird for this, for European culture, but bitter melon and bamboo shoots, but not the canned ones, the big ones.
Oh, wow. How did that taste?
Both I feel benefit from cooking.
Right. Okay. Yeah.
The bitter melon just looks so weird.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Have you had it, Vivian? It sounded like
I have. Yeah, I grew up eating that as well. I used to do it. I used to cook it a lot in stir fries with like maybe a little bit of beef or pork or something.
Yum. I feel like I have tried it, but I can't remember if I like the taste. I can't remember. I'll have to try it again. The way you prepare it sounds good though.
Another is plantain.
Oh yeah.
Which is it's a banana that's not sweet. And the other one I think is really interesting is the taro root that tapioca is made of, but to get the whole taro root.
Yes, I love taro roots. I love it.
I buy veggie chips, and they're made from taro.
Yeah, I've had those as well. They're delicious.
Yes.
Yeah, so good, and it's really a beautiful plant as well. Taro, I love the plant. It's so tropical and fun looking.
How would you grow dragon fruit?
Ooh, dragon fruit. That is such a good question. I have never grown it. I have grown quite a few fruits from the seeds. Vivian, do you know? Have you tried?
Dragon fruit? No, I haven't tried dragon fruit before.
I mean, I feel like my gardening style is always like just kind of try it and experiment and see how it goes. So if you buy one, just try to get some seeds out and put them in some soil and see what happens. I feel like it's worth a try, and see what happens. Yeah.
It's surprising. They're very colorful, but the plant is like eating water.
Yeah, they're beautiful fruit though. They're so beautiful. I'm assuming you would have to grow it inside because it probably is not cold enough here. But yeah, I just looked it up. It sounds like it can take up to 2 years to bear fruit, and that would be an ideal condition. So it could be one you have to be patient with, but that would be fun to try. I've grown lemons from the fruit from the store, and I know people grow like I think papayas and avocados. So yeah, totally worth a try.
My co-op, they have a garden area on the 14th floor. I didn't even think of radishes.
Sorry, you said radishes?
Yeah, the woman that heads up the garden committee, they just planted seeds, and then she asked for suggestions. Now I didn't even think of radish.
Radish, yeah. Well, we'll chat more about radishes. Here I have some, like I said, I have some really cool varieties we can chat about. And yeah, I just started a few rows of radishes over the weekend, and I love how quick they grow. They're so rewarding. Well, thanks for sharing, everyone. It sounds like we've all tried some really cool vegetables, fruits, herbs, and we'll just go through and share some more with you here. So I'm going to go through some of these veggies, and then Vivian is going to go after me and share how to prepare some of these cool veggies, as well as the nutritional info on that. So one of the first ones I wanted to chat about that I love growing myself are lemon cucumbers. Has anyone grown them before? No, it might be a new one. Okay, cool.
I have.
Okay, Karen, yeah, you have. How did they go for you? How did they work?
They were great. They grew just like a cucumber, but they're delicious.
They are such a unique one to grow. I love them because they really do look like a lemon. They're so unique. They get this beautiful dark yellow, almost orangey skin when they're mature and ready to eat. And they do have that citrus taste. I feel like there's such a incredible freshness to them. They do have quite a few seeds in the center. So if you don't like that in your cucumber, it might not be the best one for you. But I also like that if you're just making a salad, you don't have to just cut a bit of a cucumber. You can just use the whole thing. So it's kind of, it's like a mini cucumber, but also just a really unique flavor. I grow them in a tomato cage. They like to climb. They like to have some type of a trellis or support. So I usually use just a small tomato cage to grow them. And it really looks like, as they're growing, like you're growing little tennis balls or something on your in your garden. They are also really good if you're growing in a community garden. Sometimes it can be inevitable that there might be some things that go missing in a community garden. These are ones that I grow in mine, and no one usually knows what they are, so no one touches them because they're so unique looking. But yeah, I would definitely recommend this variety. I know West Coast Seeds sells the seeds for the lemon cucumbers, and I do see the plant starters fairly often at different nurseries as well. But yeah, a really, really fun one to try. I'll be growing them again this year. It's also good because I find I get impatient waiting for the big cucumbers sometimes. So these are nice, and you don't get them all at once. So yeah. And then continuing with that lemon theme, the first two pictures I have here show some yellow tomatoes, and they are called Lemon Boy, these tomatoes. And they also have, like I said, that yellow color, and also a bit of that citrus taste as well to them, sort of. In the first picture, I've tried to show how much they actually look like lemons. So I cut up a lemon and I cut up the tomato, just to show how similar they do look. When I go buy my tomato plants for the year, I usually just pick whatever names I find the most fun, to be honest. I'm not that strategic with which varieties I choose. So I like to go for really unique, different varieties. So the Lemon Boy is one that I've grown that was quite fun. And I've also really enjoyed the green zebras. Has anyone grown them before? They don't actually ever turn red. They are a green tomato, but they have this really beautiful kind of marking, like zebra marking on them, that are quite cool. And then the other one that I just find so beautiful that I haven't grown myself, but I've seen in a lot of community garden plots and around mine, are the indigo rose tomatoes. They're like a very deep, dark purple. So I always thought it would be beautiful to grow indigo rose with the lemon boys and have that contrast of the yellow and that dark purple. And then the last picture just shows it's an ox heart tomato. This was one year where I did a tomato taste test. So I cut up a few of one of each of my tomatoes I grew, and we tasted them all to see which one was the best. So yeah, I like to have fun with the varieties I grow, and there are so many out there. If anyone is in like the Burnaby area, I really strongly recommend Winglong's nursery. It's really great, and they have a lot of kind of more unique varieties of the tomatoes as well. And here we have the rutabagas and the artichokes again. So I wanted to chat a little bit just about the rutabagas. So rutabagas, the ideal time to plant them is kind of between June 8th and July 13th. They take about 100 days to mature. And you do have to be pretty careful with the rutabagas to not overwater. They can start to rot if the soil is staying too wet. So with rutabaga, you wait until after the first or second frost actually to harvest. So it is a long wait time. And speaking of edible tops to root veggies, the tops to the rutabagas are edible as well. And I think Vivian probably is going to chat about that more later. So yeah, very useful if you are going to store your rutabagas for a little while. You'll want to take the tops off before you store them in a cool place. And then artichokes here, we chatted a little bit about earlier. So artichokes, they do like full sun. They'll do best when they're in full sun. They can tolerate a bit of shade. And the key with these is to harvest them before they get to this point where they do flower. So has anyone eaten artichoke? I actually have not eaten a whole artichoke until very recently. I've had, artichoke dip, but I'd never had eaten an actual whole artichoke. Has anyone had that?
I love the pizza. It's a European veggie pizza, and I love it.
Yeah.
Yeah, the artichoke.
So good. I know, it's such a unique and rich flavor. It's amazing. I love just with a bit of butter, garlic butter on it. Oh, so good.
Also, too, vegetarians and vegans, they buy substitute meat, and quite a few products are made out of artichoke.
Yeah, it's so like meaty. The actual heart of the artichoke is so meaty and yeah, delicious. So yeah, if anyone is out at the Earthwise Garden, we usually have these, they really bloom or they really grow well in our food demonstration garden. So they're fun to check out. Karen, were you going to share something as well? Did I see you come off mute earlier?
I've eaten an artichoke. My experience is they take a long time to steam if you get the whole one.
Yes.
And there's a lot of is a conversation vegetable to eat because you have to peel a lot away and then kind of with your bottom teeth kind of scrape the until you get to the heart, scrape the little bit of meat off of each leaf.
Yes, absolutely. That's a really good way to put it. It is kind of like if you do fondue or something, like it takes time to cook and you do get a good visit in. And you're right, it does take a long time to steam. I bought them at Costco before. That's when I ate them, and you got a bag of them, and I remember steaming them and everything else was ready for dinner except for the artichoke. But yeah, they are really cool to see how they grow, because usually, like, I know artichokes, I would always just buy them from a jar or a can when I would use them. So it's cool to see, yeah, how they grow. They are very picky about their soil. They really like a loose, well-draining soil. And I do know people that grow these in containers with quite a bit of success. So, yeah.
I have to ask.
Yeah.
You can get Jerusalem artichokes. Why is it called Jerusalem?
Oh, good question. So this is really interesting. Jerusalem artichokes or sunchokes are actually in a completely different family than these kind of artichokes. So it's funny because they do have, obviously the same name, but they are completely different, really. Jerusalem artichokes are in the same family as sunflowers, and they grow like, they look like a sunflower. They get really tall stalks and yellow flowers at the end. So they are just completely different species. Nothing really the same about them. So yeah, sunchokes, they grow completely different. They grow underground, and sunchokes can actually be quite invasive when you grow them. So they're something good to keep contained in a garden bed or container. And yeah, I think maybe on the next slide, do I have a picture of the sunchokes, and was I gonna? Okay, yeah, there's the sunchokes again. Yeah, they are huge. They like a lot of water. You have to water them quite a bit in the summer, so they can be a little bit more of a higher maintenance plant. They like full sun, but they are just a really fun one to grow. I think our sunchokes, Vivian, this year, they grew like taller than me or you, right? Like they were very, very tall.
Yeah. I think they were like around, like, I would say 6 feet or so, maybe.
Yeah.
They can get really tall, and yeah, I think from what I hear, they can get up to like 10 feet or so, but I'm not quite sure about that.
Wow. Okay, that's good. I tried sunchokes for the first time this summer. It was served on a plate I had at a restaurant, and I honestly had no idea what it was. I thought it was ginger, which I know some of you guessed in the guessing game. I thought it was ginger, but then I tasted it and I was like, what is this? And I asked, and it was a sunchoke. The one I had was it was like roasted, the sunchoke, and it was really tasty. It was kind of creamy and starchy, like a potato, is what it tasted like to me. To be honest, I feel like I never see these at grocery stores or vegetable markets. I don't know, maybe it is just seasonal, but I feel like they are kind of something that it pays to grow because they can be harder to find. Yeah. And then we have our kohlrabi there, which I know some of you have grown. We grew this last year in our Garden Buddies teaching garden, and it was like the talk of the garden because it's just such a unique looking plant. It's very interesting, and it looks like something that would grow underground. It looks like a root vegetable, right? But it's quite cool because the big part of it grows above the ground. So it's kind of looks like you're like growing a big dinosaur egg or something in the garden. And I think, Vivian, you're going to share with us some ways to cook and prepare it after, right? Yeah, so I won't get into that. Kohlrabi does require full sun as well, but it can handle cooler weather. So a lot of people will plant this late in the summer and then harvest it in the fall. It's also a great one for containers. It will grow, you can grow it easily in containers as well. And then asparagus, I know can be a controversial vegetable. People either love it or hate it, I find for sure. I love it. And Vivian and I actually just tasted some from the Earthwise garden the other day. We have some growing in our food demonstration garden. I cooked mine with eggs, Vivian, it was delicious. How did you have yours?
I just steamed mine a little bit and I had it. It was great. Yeah.
Yeah, it was really good. But asparagus is one of these plants that teaches us patience. Does anyone know much about asparagus and how it grows? It is a very rewarding plant to grow, but you have to wait usually about 3 years before you actually get a harvest out of it. So I planted mine in my garden bed, I think 5 years ago now, and it was a lot of patience waiting those first 3 years for a harvest, but now it comes up and I usually get 2 harvests. Actually, I get an early spring harvest. So mine is coming up right now in my garden as well. And then often late in the summer, you'll get lucky and get another harvest. But it's so cool how it grows. I wish I had a picture, but the ferns, the asparagus ferns that it grows, they're beautiful, fluffy, fuzzy looking foliage, and then the asparagus just pops up. So I know someone that planted it in their garden and then they converted it to grass, and now they have asparagus that just pops up all over their lawn everywhere. So once it's established and matured, it will produce for many years for you, but it's patience, definitely, but quite a fun one to grow for sure. But unless you have lots, if you're just growing them in your home garden, you usually kind of just get one at a time. So it's not like it's going to be producing, massive amounts for dinner or anything.
What soil conditions does asparagus like?
I'm not sure on the specifics. I don't think I wrote anything down. Vivian, do you know anything about asparagus soil conditions?
No, I'm not. I haven't actually grown asparagus myself, so I'm not quite sure about that.
It says here, it grows best in well-drained soils with pH between 6.5 to 7, and it does not like very acidic soils.
Thank you.
Yes, no problem. Yeah, and it does like full sun as well. Yeah, okay, I think we just have a few more left. Yes, garlic scapes. These are, I am so passionate about these. You can probably tell my voice, I just perked up. These are, I think, one of the most delicious things that come out of the garden. Anyone tried them before?
Yes.
Yes. Do you like them, Karen?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah. They
Because
are
they're best cooked.
Yes, definitely. So garlic scapes are really just the flower of a garlic bulb plant. So if you've grown garlic before, in our climate in BC, people often will plant their garlic in the fall, and it takes actually full 9 months to grow your garlic. So these pictures of the garlic plants on the slide here, these are plants that will have been in the ground for about like 7 months or so. So this is the plant about 2 months before it's ready to be harvested. And what happens once it gets warmer, which it feels like it's not ever going to do right now with this weather, once it gets warm, the garlic plant goes, I'm going to produce the flower. So what's happening is it's actually going through its life cycle, and it's nearing the end of its life cycle. So by producing that flower, the plant's energy, instead of going towards the bulb that's under the ground, it's going towards producing that flower, that curly little flower part on top. So it's integral that you pluck that off in June, May, June, when that pops up, in order for your garlic to keep growing. So there's a picture of me plucking it there with my hand to show you where you want to get that. So people say it's kind of like, it looks like a pig's tail almost, the garlic scape. And it's just a curly Q kind of little stalk. And it is absolutely delicious. So it's really important to harvest it because your garlic will grow way better. Your garlic, a lot of people sometimes they're disappointed with the size of their garlic, how it grows. It can often be because they didn't take that scape off. But anyway, so it's important to do for growing. And then it's also just really, really, really delicious. It can be, there's a picture there where it's actually a pickled garlic scape, where the scape was kind of left whole and then pickled. I like to chop mine up sort of like a green onion and saute it with scrambled eggs. I feel like that's like the absolute best way to have it. You can tell I love eggs. But then there's also, you can just grill it. You can saute it. You can really throw it in anything. And I know a lot of people can be sensitive to garlic. Garlic scape has a bit of a milder flavor. So some people find that it kind of sits better for them because it's just a bit milder, but you still get that great garlic flavor. So yeah, they're delicious. And I personally cannot wait to get some garlic scapes and eat them all.
Thank you for telling me that. Last summer, the woman that runs the garden committee, she put them out in the lobby,
Mm-hmm.
and I couldn't figure out what they were.
You gotta go get them this year for sure. They are so good. Take advantage of that. Yeah, they're honestly so delicious. I usually just cut off the part where the actual seed flower part is, and yeah, and eat it that way. So you can Google it for more recipes. It's really good in pesto too, and just as a garlic substitute. So yeah. Okay, I think these are my last two possibly here. Oh no, I have one more.
Load.
This is pineapple sage. I had to throw this one in here because it's one of my favorite herbs to grow, and I grow it every year. Anyone growing this one? It is kind of harder to find.
I have.
Yeah.
And I love the red flowers.
I know.
And it's actually not a sage, I understand it's a mint.
Oh, okay.
It's not in the sage family, it's in the mint family.
Okay.
And if you look at if we look at the leaves, they're not as fuzzy as sage, and
absolutely, yeah,
and not the right color. But I really enjoyed it. It smells beautiful and attracts a lot of bees. But unfortunately, it didn't make it through the winter, and I haven't found it again.
Oh, well, if I don't know whereabouts you are, Karen, but I actually just bought one this morning at Wing Wong's nursery in Burnaby.
I'm on Vancouver Island, so I will try to track some down.
Okay, yes, good luck. I know this winter was very hard on perennials, but also some of these kind of tender perennials like pineapple sage that usually come back, but might not this year. Yeah, so yeah, you're right. It is in the mint family. And some of the reasons I love to grow this is it is just a very delicious smelling plant. It truly does capture that pineapple flavor. So you can have it in a fruit salad. You can chop it up with fruit salad. It's delicious. People like to make tea with the leaves. And I've also made a pineapple chicken because the pineapple flavor comes through, and then also just that herby taste as well comes through. So that was really lovely. And then one of the best things about this plant are the gorgeous red flowers that it gets. They don't bloom until like really late summer, early fall. And the hummingbirds just go absolutely nuts for them. They love pineapple sage flowers, and they bloom at a time where there's less available for the hummingbirds, where a lot of flowers are maybe not in bloom. So it's a really great one to grow for the culinary use, but also just for the pollinators as well. All right, Vivian, I'm going to pass it over to you. Yeah.
Awesome. Thanks, Katie. So we're just going to quickly take a look at sunchokes, kohlrabi, and rutabaga and chat a little bit about their nutrition, how to store it, how to prepare it, and how to incorporate them into your diets. So these three vegetables have something in common in that they are low on the glycemic index or glycemic load in relation to potatoes. So that makes them a great low carb substitute for your starchier veg. So what do I mean when I say glycemic index or glycemic load? So basically the glycemic index is a system which ranks carbohydrates by how much and how quickly they raise your blood sugar level after you eat a certain food. So as you can see on the graph over here, foods with a higher GI tend to cause a spike in your blood glucose level. It increases your blood sugar at a greater and faster pace compared to low GI foods, which release glucose in a slower and steadier manner. So that keeps you feeling full longer and doesn't spike your glucose levels as high. So foods with higher GI levels include things like white rice or white bread, and also starchier vegetables like potatoes, as I mentioned a little bit earlier. And lower GI foods are things like leafy greens or legumes or even milk. So while the glycemic index only looks at the quality of your carb, glycemic load also takes into account the quantity that you eat. So basically, the glycemic load can be calculated by multiplying your glycemic index and the number of carbs per serving in grams, and then dividing that number by 100. So if you take rutabaga, for instance, rutabaga has a similar glycemic index to potatoes at around 72 to 79. So that is quite high on the GI scale. But because they only contain 9 grams of carbs for every 100 gram that you eat, whereas potatoes contain around 17 grams for the same amount, if you plug those numbers into that equation there, you'll find that rutabaga has a much lower GL and as a result won't create as big of a spike in your blood sugar as potatoes would. Oops. The slides are just taking a second here. Okay. So sunchokes are also really high in a compound called inulin. So this isn't the same as insulin, which is a lot more commonly said. Inulin is a prebiotic fiber, which means that the human body can't digest this. And we don't have the ability to digest this fiber. So instead, the bacteria in our gut is able to help break this down. And in the process of doing so, it can kind of create lots of gas, but it also promotes the growth of a healthy gut bacteria, right? So this buildup of gas can result in lots of bloating and gastric upset for those with more sensitive stomachs or guts. And then sunchokes are also really good and are really high sources of iron, which is a key component for energy production. So if you find that you're getting very tired very easily, you might be low in iron. So sunchokes are a great way to kind of boost that. And vitamin C, if you pair that with something high in iron, can help increase that iron absorption. So often you might see pairing your sunchokes with things like leafy greens or citrusy fruits, which are very high in vitamin C. So kohlrabi and rutabaga are both cruciferous vegetables, and they're both from the brassica family. So like other brassicas, such as Brussels sprouts or kale or broccoli, kohlrabi and rutabaga are very high in a phytochemical called glucosinolates. So what that means is that they are high in the sulfur-containing compound, which contributes to that bitterness you usually taste in these foods. So This phytochemical, glucosinolates, can, it's very pungent and it leaves that bitter taste. And that's basically the glucosinolate being broken down and releasing its like mustardy taste. So because of the taste, that's usually what draws people away from these foods. I know a lot of people don't fancy Brussels sprouts or kale even, but these are really healthy and really good compounds for you. And they're very beneficial for our health, and they're great for protecting our cells from DNA damage, and can also increase your liver's ability to help detoxify and cleanse out any carcinogens. So while glucosinolates seem to have lots and lots of benefits, too much of a good thing isn't always good. You want to eat things in moderation, and glucosinolates is something that you should kind of be aware of when you're eating these. So glucosinolates are goitrogenic, so that kind of means that they can interfere with your thyroid hormone production. So people with a history of hypothyroidism or any like thyroid related disease, I would recommend cooking your brassicas, because roasting or like lightly steaming them will help break down some of these glucosinolates, which can help increase your iodine absorption, thus helping you with your thyroid production, thyroid hormone production. Yeah, and then so as for like storage and prep, sunchokes can be stored in a cool, dry place for up to 10 days or a month. And then kohlrabi is fine in the fridge, and rutabaga is similar to potatoes in that you can store them for several months in a cool and dark place. So for the peels of sunchokes, those can be eaten. So you can just rinse them, scrub them clean from the dirt since they are a root vegetable. And then you can just chop them up and prep them however you'd like. As for kohlrabi and rutabaga, they tend to have tougher or waxier peels. So we would recommend slicing off the top and the bottom ends of them, and then just going through with either a vegetable peeler or like a knife, as you can see in this photo, and just peeling off the sides there. And as Katie has mentioned earlier, you can definitely eat the greens of these vegetables. So yeah, they work great. The greens work great in stir fries, or you could throw them into your salads, and they're just like your typical leafy greens. Okay, so there are many ways you can use these vegetables in your cooking or to incorporate them into your diet. So roasting is a very simple way to cook all of these vegetables. All you really have to do is cut up your vegetables into bite-sized pieces, mix in a little bit of oil, a little bit of seasoning, and then throw it in the oven, and you're good to go. Once they're roasted, you can eat them as is, or you can mix them into your salad, as you can see here, with the sunchokes and the kale, or you can mix them in with your pasta or like whatever else you really want. Pickling is another option, is another way you can kind of eat your sunchokes. So sunchokes in particular, I would recommend, if you're not going to cook them, probably pickle them, because it helps break down some of that inulin we were talking about earlier. So instead of that gas being released in your body, the gas is released in that pickle brine. So when you eat your Jerusalem artichoke, it kind of, your pickled sunchokes, it digests a lot easier than when it's not pickled. And then if you've ever tried like spiralizing and making things like zucchini noodles or carrot noodles, you can definitely try putting kohlrabi or rutabaga in it to make some noodles, some veggie noodles with that as well. And then once you do that, you can just like, I like to steam them up a little bit and then mix it in with some other vegetables for a low carb like dinner or meal. And then rutabaga is just very similar to potatoes, as we've mentioned before. Those ones are, so basically however you would cook your potatoes, you can cook your rutabaga similarly. So things like cutting them into strips and baking them as fries, or making like a mashed rutabaga dish, or you can even try turning it into a cake. So like this cake here is actually a spiced rutabaga cake, and I haven't actually tried it myself, but from what I hear, it's very similar to carrot cake or zucchini bread, where you don't really taste the vegetable itself, but more so the spices that you throw in. Yeah, so now I invite you guys to come off mute or to type in the chat. We want to hear from you guys what you guys have kind of tried or tasted. Like, have you guys cooked with any weird vegetables, or have you guys tried a fun recipe that you would like to share?
I like to at Christmas. I haven't lately because my kitchen's so small. But normally at Christmas, I like to cook sweet potatoes with regular potatoes with the skin on. I find it healthy and tastier.
Yeah, sweet potato and mixing that potato in, that's awesome. And I love how you keep the skin in the mix as well, because that skin adds that extra bit of fiber to your diet. And fiber, as we all know, is very good for our digestion. It's very beneficial in that it'll help prevent constipation. And then in some cases, it can also help prevent diarrhea. So it works both ways for fiber. It's very beneficial thing. Katie, have you tried anything fun?
I'm just trying to think. I did a lot of cooking with squash this winter that was new to me. I hadn't really cooked with all that much squash before. And something I really want to try that I just saw a recipe for was doing spaghetti squash with pesto.
Ooh.
So I thought that would be really yummy. I'm excited to try that. But oh, I just realized I forgot to talk about the radishes. I must have missed that slide. I did want to just tell you guys two really cool radish varieties, because I know we were talking about radishes a bit. Watermelon radish is a really fun one to grow. And then I like to grow French breakfast. They're the long radishes with the white tips. And then what else? The Easter egg radishes are really fun too. They have 3 different colors in them. They're really quite cool. But it just reminded me of radishes because I was gonna say I have made someone taught me how to make a roasted radish soup, which was so delicious and really cool. So that was kind of a different thing to do. I feel like you don't usually think to cook radishes, right?
Well, I think we were talking about daikon earlier, and then for me, my family, we make something called like a radish cake around like Chinese New Year. So basically we just chop them up into like matchsticks or like little pieces, and we mix it in with a bunch of like different ingredients like mushrooms and all sorts of things and a little bit of flour, and then we pan fry it. So they're like, yeah, it's like a savory kind of, I don't know what you would call that really.
Like, is it flat sort of like, or is it?
Yeah, so it's like you cut them into like kind of like flat pieces.
Okay, yeah.
If that makes any sense at all.
That sounds really good. I want to try that.
Kind of sounds like a vegetable meatloaf to me.
Yeah, it's kind of like that.
I really want to try that, Vivian. That sounds amazing. And I love when radishes are cooked.
Is it a bit gelatinous, Vivian? Like gluey, not gelatinous, but gluey, like sticky?
Like
After it's
the
pan fried on the inside.
a little bit, because we're mixing it in with like the flour and all of that stuff. So it's it kind of holds the shape and it's not like wet or anything.
Yeah, but I think I've eaten it. It's a bit sticky in the middle.
Yeah, they actually call it, I've heard it being called turnip cake before, even though it's made from daikon radishes. So yeah.
It's very delicious. I'm not describing it in a very attractive way, but I really, really loved it.
Yeah, it's one of my favorites.
It sounds good.
I'm actually very excited to try that rutabaga cake we were talking about earlier. I love to bake, so I always like to try and incorporate different types of veggies into my baking. So like zucchini bread or like carrot cake and everything. So I'd love to try that rutabaga cake and see how that turns out.
I'm going to join you in that, Vivian. I have made beetroot cake or beet cake from beets, but I have not made rutabaga cake. I've made zucchini and carrots, so I'm excited to try it too.
Yeah.
I have to go. I have a trouble posting meeting now.
No problem, Lori. Yeah, we're just
But thank you.
now. Thank you so much, and
Thank
thanks for
you.
sharing. Yeah.
Bye.
Have a good weekend.
Okay.
Yeah, Vivian, I really want to join you with that cake as well, but I probably, my baking skills, as you know, are not the best, so I would love to try yours.
Yeah, if they turn out well, I'll definitely bring some in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm curious, what do we do with the sunchokes after they're pickled? Like, how are they served?
So usually with like any pickled veggies or anything, I like to just kind of have a little bit of it on the side. So it's not really like making a full meal out of it. It's more just having it as like a little side dish to the rest of your meal. So say you have like maybe a salad and some meat, and then usually I'll just have like a little bit of like a pickled vegetable or something on the side as well.
Okay, because I grew sunchokes. They're very prolific. They're like, for the size of the patch I have, they're very dense in their tubers, and no one would eat them. I could talk my family into eating one dish. Like I could cook it once and they would eat it once in the year. So, and it was the great try to get rid of sunchoke thing. And they took a lot of cleaning. They've got crevices that hold a lot of dirt. And so I did a lot of research, and that's one of the reasons they're not commercially grown, is because they take a lot more cleaning and soaking than other root vegetables, and they're difficult to mechanically harvest. And those were the two reasons why they're not like commercially grown, that I found when I did it. So I did not try pickling. I only tried cooking, and I'm glad to know you can eat the skin, because peeling them is terrible.
Oh yeah, I'd imagine so, with all the nooks and crannies.
Yeah, because but I found I really had to, like, I had to, cleaning them took, like, just to get the dirt out took like 4 or 5 buckets of soaked water. But maybe because I had a lot land, I was growing in a lot of clay.
That's hard. I think I don't know about our sunchokes, but last year our carrots were grown in very clayey soil, and then it would take like ages for us to like rinse them and clean them before we could hand them out even.
Karen, one way to use them, I think you do have to peel them maybe though, is doing soup with them. Have you done that?
I have.
Okay. Yeah.
Did you use a clear soup, or did you like make them like potato and leek soup?
I haven't done it, but I've seen lots of recipes that I would love to try, and they look like on the creamier side, the ones.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
that's
I would,
easy.
yeah, I would say it's something similar to like a potato and leek soup, and you
Yeah.
can kind of, or maybe even like a squash soup or something. You can cook it and like blend everything together.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But yeah, I think you can also mash them, but I haven't tried that myself. But I think I've seen like recipes on like mashed sunchokes or something.
When I
Yeah.
peel my ginger, I use like the back of a spoon. I wonder if that would help with making it easier to peel. I don't know if you tried that, but yeah.
I have not, but that's a really good idea.
Yeah, it's kind of a good hack. I always hated peeling ginger, and then I learned that, and it's so much easier. But anyways, we can definitely follow up too after we talk with our farmer at Earthwise, Matt, if he has any tips for cleaning sunchokes too, because that is a big job. Absolutely. But we are over time, so we should probably wrap up and let everyone get going. But we just wanted to say a huge thank you for listening and sharing, and it was really nice to connect with you all and hear about what you like to garden and share knowledge and all of that. So we're very appreciative that you had us here as guests today. And as we said, like anytime you want to come by to the Earthwise Garden, we also do a lot of webinars and online workshops. So just if you want to be added to our mailing list, feel free to put your name in the chat or follow up with us afterwards. I'm putting Vivian and I's emails in the chat right now. So if you do want to follow up with any other questions or reach out or anything, feel free to do that. Otherwise, yeah, Vivian, any last words from you?
No, but just thank you all for coming out today and listening to Katie and I talk a little bit about some weird and some fun vegetables. Yeah, and we always invite you to come out and drop by the garden whenever you're available. We should have staff there every day now. So yeah. And we also invite you all to come out to our fundraiser next Saturday. Yeah. Hope to see you all there.
Absolutely. And our garden, like Vivian said, is open every day to the public. So please come by anytime. All right. Thanks, everyone, and have a good weekend.
Okay. Thank you, guys.